Superman, well, fake Superman, Jon Kent, is going to come out to the world and let everyone not only know that he's gay, but who his partner is. Now, this is the only story left for Tom Taylor to tell because this is basically a gay romance novel disguised as a superhero comic book. Let's look at the big festivities of what's going to happen tomorrow. After Jon Kent and Jay Nakamura and their legion of murderous backup absolutely defeat President Bendix, we get this big moment. Jay Nakamura no longer masked. He's been unveiled to the world, just like Jon Kent. And Jon says, he found a way to hurt you. Jay says, you don't exactly look unscathed yourself. Jon, Superman, this is my mother, Sarah. It's a pleasure to meet you, President Nakamura. You look strange, but of course, there are a lot of people watching in cameras. Jay says, yeah, we overthrew a dictator. That was going to attract attention. You lost your disguise again. I don't care. You're not hiding. You're out there for the whole world. The least I can do is be beside you. And of course, they make out in front of everybody to let the world know that Jon Kent is a very proud member of the LGBTQ community. He's a good representative for DC Comics, and he has his boyfriend there with him. The worst part about all this is the 15th issue. This is literally the only story that they've told from Tom Taylor. Almost a year and a half to tell one story. Finally, they defeat Bendix and free the people of Gamora from his rule. And it's not about, oh my goodness, you saved so many people. Oh my goodness, you saved the world, Jon Kent. No, it's time to make out with your boyfriend because that was the point of the story. You weren't reading a superhero comic book. I've been talking about this the whole time. This is a gay romance story disguised as a superhero comic book, which is fine if you're looking for gay romance stories. But I imagine, just a hunch, that most people reading Superman these days aren't exactly looking for that type of story. Quite frankly, I don't think a lot of people that go to their comic shop every Tuesday to pick up their favorite DC comic books are looking for gay romance stories. It's not something we're all into for the most part. Obviously, there's going to be a few people that have a little crossover there. But for the most part, we come for the superheroics. And hey, if there's a little extra stuff added that makes the story better, then so be it. That's just a bonus on top. This is anything but a superhero comic book. It's been that way since the very beginning. And it's killing sales. You don't believe me? Let's look at the sales of the last issue of Superman, Son of Kal-El that we know of. Number 14, coming in at number 82, actually fell out of the top 75 now. Absolutely insane. And I'm not the only one noticing that this is killing sales. This is what the analyst from comicbookrevolution.com had to say. I think his name might be Rock. I'm not really sure. He says, uh-oh, look out. Planet Hulk Superman managed to be the second highest ranked Superman franchise title. Action Comics 1046 took the number 55 spot. This is the highest sales ranking we have seen for a solo Superman title since January of 2022, with the Superman Son of Kal-El number 5 sales stud pushed issue number 5 and 6 into the top 50. Son of Kal-El slid right out of the top 75. Superman Son of Kal-El number 14 dropped from number 63 down to number 82. Keep in mind, DC Comics has told us that Superman Son of Kal-El is the flagship title for the Superman franchise. Well, DC Comics should be humiliated and embarrassed that the flagship Superman title can't even crack the top 75. This is inexcusable. Again, DC Comics editorial seems completely out of touch with what most comic book readers want from the Superman franchise. It is almost like DC Comics is purposely trying to ruin the Superman franchise because the only other excuse is gross incompetence. Those are not my words. Those are the words of another analyst. I've never even talked to that guy. I've never met him. I don't know who the guy is. He's just the guy that does analysis on comicbookrevolution.com. And he comes away with a very similar interpretation of the sales on Superman. Because the only people still buying this are like the hangers on that have a complete Superman run and don't want to break it at this point. Oh my God, I will buy it. I'll put it in a slipcase and I'll put it over there and I'll never read it. The story is too slow. It's not heroic. For the most part, it's only been about Jay Nakamura and Jon Kent's relationship. At this point, what else are they going to do for a headline? Is Jon Kent going to come out to crypto? Maybe he's going to go into the bottled city of Kandor and let all of them know he's gay next time, because that's the only thing they can do to get a headline at this point. The end game of this Bendix story the entire time from Tom Taylor was to get to that moment when they kiss in front of people. It wasn't for Jon Kent to save the day. That was all just like bonus on top stuff that happened along the way. The only reason he told this story was so that they would make out at the end and he can come out to his dad the next issue. It's absolutely ridiculous that they can see that the sales are tanking on this title. there's not very much interest. The fact that the flagship Superman title at DC Comics can't crack the top 75 is absolutely embarrassing at this point. But they pigeonholed the character. All he can be now is gay Superman. He can't be Superman who happens to be gay. He can't be Superman who happens to be bisexual or anything like that. He can only be gay Superman. The only headline he can generate is when he makes out with his boyfriend and comes out to people. And they're doing this to all their legacy characters. There was a time Dan DiDio wanted to destroy legacy characters at DC Comics. He absolutely hates them. There's nobody in the world happier right now than DC Comics strategy with legacy characters than Dan DiDio himself. No one could have done a better job at destroying legacy characters. That was one of the cool things that DC Comics had that Marvel Comics just couldn't crack. They try to do legacy characters, and it never works for them. DC Comics has so many cool legacy characters. When you look at every single hero out there, whether it be like Superboy, the Robins out there, you look at the Teen Titans, so many great legacy characters, and they're destroying all of them because now they've decided that it's a nice, easy place to put their LGBTQ representation on. Let's put it on this other character that might not be as marketable as the main hero and just destroy an entire generation of heroes. I'm not the only one noticing this. This is from an article from Polygon.com. Obviously, their perspective on it is different, but they've noticed the exact same thing. Back in 2016, young Jackson Hyde, then the new Aqualad, and now dubbed Aquaman alongside his older namesake, was revealed to have a boyfriend in the pages of DC Universe Rebirth Special. 2 years later, writer N.K. Jemisin and artist Jamal Campbell introduced us to Joe Mullen, a fresh-faced Green Lantern stationed far from home whose bisexuality was just one of several traits that established her as a stranger in a strange land. Nubia of the Amazon, twin sister of fellow Wonder Woman Princess Diana, was casually shown in bed with her lover, Io, just this past December. And obviously, we saw what happened with Tim Drake as well. They've decided that legacy characters are the dumping ground for LGBTQ representation within DC Comics, and it's destroying all the characters. Polygon.com continued. Case in point, this year's DC Pride Special, the company's second annual showcase of an increasingly sizable stable of LGBTQ characters. Of the 12 stories housed in this year's installment, half centered on out-of-the-closet legacy iterations of established characters. They keep doing this. They keep saddling the characters and destroying the future viability of the characters within it. You can't tell a superhero story about Iceman. He can only be a gay coming-of-age character, despite being in his 30s at this point. They can't tell another story with it. And you won't be able to do it with Superman, son of Kal-El either. They've destroyed Jon Kent. And let's not even think about the creepiness of all of this stuff. Jon Kent was 10 years old not that long ago, like a year and a half ago in DC Comics continuity. He's only 17. He's considered a minor in a lot of states. Jay Nakamura's in college, whatever. Let's not get too creepy on this. But the reason he's like 17 now is he got trapped on an alien planet where versions of his parents that were evil basically tortured him for 7 years straight, although time didn't pass, and then he came back aged up. What they're doing with the character is absolutely creepy, and it's been creepy for a very long time. If you want to see the creepiest thing Tom Taylor's done with Jon Kent, it's the lollipop incident with Nightwing Dick Grayson. Just some of the weirdest stuff in the world. If you want to use the G word, I completely understand where you're coming from. If you haven't seen the video about the lollipop incident, you definitely need to check this out. Tom Taylor is a hack job. He needs to get off of Superman the soonest. If you're on a mobile device, there's a link in the video description.